Right, just checking my audio levels, 1, 2, 3. Just checking my audio levels, am I sounding okay? Just getting things set up for quite a quick live stream. Just checking my audio levels, 2E0 UKH, just give me a report, someone. So I'm talking about a radio. I'm talking about a £60 analog and digital radio. Yeah, thanks, more. I'm talking about a £60 dual band FM DMR radio. So for £60, an entry level radio with fantastic hardware. It's actually £62, and the radio came out as an entry level radio. It came out for £62. It's a Retevis, obviously, and they've changed the firmware on the radio. You know, it was advertised with 10,000 contacts. Yeah, cheap as chips. It was advertised with just 10,000 contacts. And I reviewed it 2 months ago, and they told me at Retevis, yeah, we'll do a firmware which will add more contacts. And I was a bit sceptical, because anyone could say that, but they've been good to their word. And now this radio, which I'm going to show you which one it is in a minute, has not 10,000 contacts, it's got 120,000 DMR database on it, and it's £60. It's dual band FM DMR. You can program it from the front end where you can edit channels. So for just a cheapo radio you can chuck in the car. But the funny thing is, it's running the same software as the MD 2017, as the RT82. So it's a budget radio, but running decent, tried and tested software. So any idea what it is? Because I'm just waiting for a few people to arrive. Not a huge amount of people viewing. So it's this one on the right here. And if you look on eBay, they're about £62. And because I've got radios with all these 120, 160 odd thousand contacts, you know, 868, HD1, the Retevis, MD380 and all these, it's taken a back seat because it doesn't have all these contacts on. So why would I bother with it? Well, you know, it's nice to use it and check out the improvements, but I haven't been using it. So now it's got all these contacts on it, it makes it quite worth having. So I'm going to tell you in a minute what it is, but come on, what is this radio here that I'm hiding? It is a Retevis. And no one's got it, it's the RT84. So I'll just put it on a channel. Well, the GD77, this one was in the same category. This had low contacts on it. It was advertised as having 10,000 contacts. I'm just going to connect to TAC 310, but there's some activity on there.
But the call again is Kilo Bravo 9, Mike Victor Whiskey, And 73, buddy. Pleasure has been all mine.
Nearly dropped the camera.
And off we go into the wild blue yonder, buddy.
So, as you can see...
Yeah, that's it.
Hey, they're all falling over.
I just got back to digital today. Usually a little bit RT2Y and Olivia, and I went back to it today the first time, and must be 16, 17 months. And I couldn't believe it. Ham Radio Deluxe just started right up and everything. I didn't make no adjustments whatsoever. And I made my first contact, so I couldn't believe it, because it's usually been kind of hairy with me.
So I'm just showing the display. It's gone a bit out of focus, that's better. Might be a bit near, I'll just move it back a bit. So I did the firmware update today. Retevis contacted me and said we've got a new firmware, check it out. And so, you know, there's a few people joined us since the stream first started. This is the RT84. It's £62 on eBay. Retevis RT84. And it came out 2 months ago with, it was advertised as having just 10,000 contacts. And it wouldn't actually do the DMR database. It was an entry-level radio, dead cheap, but like that was really my only criticism then. It's got this lovely keyboard that lights up green. You can't see it very well in this light. And it's really thin. It's really thin design. You know, and it was an entry-level radio. But now, because it's running the same software as the MD 2017 and the RT82, it's now a fantastic radio. RT84, John. It's an RT84, and it came out 2 months ago. You know, more and more people joining the stream, so I'll repeat the same old information. RT84, and it's £62 in the UK. Bad focus there. I'm just going to move it back a bit. It's not very good focus, is it? Yeah, same as the Baofeng DM01, 1701. But it's an entry-level radio. And I was very impressed how it was advertised with 10,000 contacts. Yeah, DMR and analog, dual band, exactly the same software as the MD 2017, as the RT82. But it's better. It's better than those because it doesn't have the stupid trackball. You've got a clicker knob on the top. So I can see this thing going up in price. And I'll be doing a review. You know, slight disclaimer, they sent me this one. They sent me this one free of charge to check out. And it's taken a back seat because it doesn't have all the database on it. And they told me we're going to be working on the firmware. And I thought, that's possible. Not as easy to use as the Anytone, but it's less than half the price. I'd still have the Anytone over this. This is an entry-level radio. But in terms of the hardware, I think it's just as good as the 868. So I'll just I did that video a few months ago. And Humax is right, all DMR rigs do analog, and we're lucky they do. But just a few years ago they started coming out dual band. And that's when it started getting interesting, because you don't have to take all your FM handhelds with you. It's on eBay. You can get it from eBay, or you can get it from Retevis Direct. And I can see it going up in price because this is actually better than the MD 2017, the RT82. because it's better hardware. Terrible lighting here. I'm zoomed in, that might be something to do with it. Let's zoom out. So, I mean, it's only good because I'm only highlighting it because, you know, this new firmware has come out for it, which makes it affordable radio. It makes the spec, you know, it's very usable with all these contacts. It's better. It's now better value. It's exactly the same as the RT3S. Yeah, it's factory firmware from Retevis. Now, it's not the easiest to get the contacts on it, I'll be honest. You have to, remember, it's exactly the same as the MD 2017, and on that we had to get the contacts on. We had to prise them on using the Microsoft Excel method, because it's a database file. Microsoft Excel has to be installed on your computer. Well, that's the question. Out of band, I don't know. I'll get back to you on that one, because I'm not going to do it live on air. I can't transmit live on air out of band, but I'll get back to you on that one. Shoot me an email, my call sign at gmail.com. But no, I could see this radio going up in price because probably because of me going on about it, and it's now better than an MD 2017. I'm just bringing it up on eBay on the PC. So I'm just going to eBay UK, hopefully. Yeah, there it is. Search for Retevis RT 84, and from China, £61, £62. Try and get one that includes the programming cable. Yeah, it should do. It should come with the programming cable. Mine did, because I got a review unit. They're not going to send me one that I can't operate. But, you know, check in. I mean, it's got it. Coming to say that, it's got it on the photo. On that photo I just showed, it does have a programming cable. So, you know, it's just a quick find that I've spotted that I was quite impressed with. Oh, it's better than the GD77. The hardware on it is lovely. If you go back to my review a few months ago, I commented that the hardware is lovely. The transmit button is very light, so your hand isn't going to be aching pressing that, you know, like on some of these radios, pressing the transmit button. Hi Gary, Gary's there. A lot of stations on here from the other night, actually, quite good. So, I mean, is there a radio that's better value than this? This is £62 in the UK. It's a dual band FM DMR, and it's got 120,000 contacts. You know, I love this radio. This is the Aliens HD1. That's got 100,000 contacts, and that's twice the price. You know, you've got the MD380, that. Luckily, that's got the contacts on. I think that's only 100,000 contacts. Hugh Max in Ireland, he's got a Baofeng RD5R. And it's horrible to use. Well, I've never had one. I've never had one. HD1 does high power, that's correct. So I'm just letting people know, people that I've recommended. You know, I've recommended this radio because it's a bog standard radio. It's an entry level one. But now it's not an entry level one. It's now better. It's better than the MD 2017 and the RT 82. Anyway, back in a minute, and just put any questions you've got about it on the screen. I should be on TAT 310 actually. If you've got any questions about it, put it on the screen. Yeah, I'll zoom in a minute, just back in a moment. Right, back again, guys. So just looking at the comments. Code plug for the RT84. Well, I managed to get the MD 2017 Moonraker code plug on it. I was told by Retevis not to tell everyone about this because it's not the official method, and originally it only had 10,000 contacts, and an MD 2017 could have had more than 10,000 contacts and therefore be incompatible. So now it's got 120,000 contacts. That might make the code plug completely compatible. Antenna fitment, same as the MD 2017. Someone wanted something zooming in. I'll just show you the aerial socket. That's the aerial. It's the type with a male attachment, and that's the female on the radio. And any other questions about it? I mean, it's not the best radio you can get, but look at the title of the video: Best Dual Band DMR with 120,000 contacts. You know, it's in the same price range, like Humax was saying from Ireland. He was saying he's got the GD77, it's horrible to use. So this has got the software on it from the MD 2017, and it's nice hardware. It's nice and thin. I mean, look at that. And it's got, look at that keyboard. It's hard to get it at the right angle. Let me just put the light off a minute. That keyboard looks so cool. So it's got a nice keyboard on it. So someone mentioned zooming into some radios. What did you want to see? Who was that? John Fisher, can you zoom out and show all your rigs and handhelds? Well, I can do. There's not a lot to show because I'm altering the shack here. So we've got the RT84, Aliens HD1, that's the MD380. I haven't got them all at the house at the moment. UV5R, got the Wotion UVD1P, got the little Baofeng T1 with a few cameras, got the ICOM 7300, 7100, D-Star, ID 51, Retevis RT 23. I won that in a competition. But this is what we're talking about. It's not the best radio in the world, but it's the best budget radio. I mean, can anyone think of a better radio for £62. £62. FM, DMR, dual band that fits all the DMR database on. Any comments? I won the same ICOM D-Star radio, yeah. It's actually a lovely radio. So there it is, the RT84. Well, John, let me tell you about the Anytone, and let me tell you about the RT84, because I've got them both. There's no doubt about it, the Anytone 868 is better. It's not. Now the hardware's not much different. The Anytone will hold 160,000 contacts, and I would say it's easier to use, the Anytone. Yeah, so Anytone is easier to use. But I managed to force the MD 2017 code plug on this RT84. So I've got all the repeaters in the UK on there. But the one thing this doesn't do, and it's not this radio's fault because it's a budget radio, just like on the MD 2017, the RT82, I cannot say go straight to talk group 223, one that's not in the radio. I can't do it. There's a workaround. You have to create a talk group, then you have to link it to a channel, key up, and you're on there. But there's two radios that do this, the Anytone 868 and the MD 380. Press the hash button twice, type in a talk group you don't have in, 223, look, key up, and I'm now on 223. That's one of the Italy ones. So John Fisher, he nearly bought the Anytone today, now he's not sure. So if you want the best radio, get the Anytone. If you want the cheaper one, if you can only afford £60, £70, get the cheaper one. If I was you, I'd have the Anytone at home and the RT84, leave it in your car. It's a budget radio. I mean, can anyone come up with a better DMR radio for £62? FM DMR with 120,000 contacts. So I need some input on the chat, or I'll be cutting this off because I don't want to keep going on about it. Ease of setup delivered with a code plug is a big benefit. Well, you haven't mentioned money there, so you know, you get the Anytone. I think the Anytone is one of the very best. You know, I've managed to force the code plug on this one. Shows all the database. There's not much in it. Get what you can afford, John. So I'm just going to have a quick look at this radio before I cut the stream off. You've got side keys there that you can program to stuff. It's got VFO mode. Takes a Kenwood connector. How do you rate the Alliance HD1? Well, I love it. The Alliance HD1 and the Anytone 868 are the best two radios I've ever had. Have you tested what has the best range without a hotspot? I have actually, and you've probably seen it. This is 10 watts, Gary. The Alliance HD1 is 10 watts. You don't get 10 watts. It's, in reality, it's probably 8, but it's high power. And I don't know if you saw my video, Gary. I took this radio up on the cliff tops and on DMR without a hotspot, with no internet, just using the radio and a rubber duck. I opened up the Utrecht repeater in Netherlands, and I spoke to someone on DMR 145 miles across the sea. Did anyone watch that? I actually got into a parrot which repeated my voice back. So best range, yeah, Humax, watch that, thanks Humax. Bit disappointed with that video because I'm happy with, you know, that I done it, but it just didn't seem very popular. 2,000, sorry, it had 2,000 odd views in a few months. 145 mile, you know, you try and do that, that's very difficult. I cannot do any better than that. So I was a bit disappointed. I couldn't get it to a wider audience. Charging on the RT84, you get a charger, drop-in charger. Which hotspot do I recommend? Right. Well, I have had all these hotspots. So, do you want to know the cheapest recommendation or the best for a DMR hotspot? Because, you know, we're lucky. There's loads of these hotspots you can get now. The best hotspot is what you've got, Gary, and that's the one I sold you. It's a DV Mega on a Raspberry Pi. So I've got mine, which is a DV Mega on a Raspberry Pi, and I've got it on a screen. I've got it on a Nextion screen, and I'll show you my hotspot if anyone would like to see it. It's not that rugged. It would, you know, if you put it in a case and protected it, it could be. It's in a Raspberry Pi, you know, so it goes on a Raspberry Pi, so you can make it as rugged as you want. But the reason it's good is because it's got a DV Mega on it, and the DV Mega receives firmware updates every few months. You know, they come up, they sorted out the DMR codec. Quality went up a lot, you know, on the audio. It's 5 years old, but it does all these modes. It does DMR, D-Star, P25, what's the other one beginning with M? NXDN. It does all these modes, but it's an old device. 14 FRS, hello, thanks for joining us. So, DV Mega on a Pi, that's my best one. I'll just show you that because I've got it on a Nextion screen. That's my Raspberry Pi with a screen on it. That's another DV Mega on a Pi without a screen, and that's running on a Pi 2. That's an old crappy Pi 2, but it seems to run all right. And the reason I say the best for DV Mega, because you can update the firmware on it, you get very good clean audio on it. It does lots of modes and it's flexible. You can put it on a Raspberry Pi, you can put it on a BlueStack, and the cheapest hotspot that I would recommend is just a basic jumbo spot, with whether it's got a screen on it or not. The screen's only any use if you want to know the IP number, and if you know the IP number, you can get into it and alter things on the Pi-Star dashboard. So cheapest one is a Pi-Star, 30 quid. I mean, you don't really need to be seeing the screen on it, especially if it's a cheap and cheerful one. You'd probably have it in the car. So Yeah, Aliens HD1. Fantastic radio. So I'll just be winding this up in a minute. I don't want to go on and on about it, but if anyone has joined us late, would like to know, going back to the title of the video, we're talking about the RT84. It's a £62 radio in the UK, FM, DMR, dual band, and a firmware update has come out that makes this 120,000 contacts. So in my opinion, I don't think you can get a better value radio. That's a very good question, Humax. Yeah, thanks, Gary. Yeah, 7-3. Thanks for joining the stream. Quite a few regulars I'm seeing here from last time. You can alternate firmwares to allow recording. See, I've never used that feature. It's nice to know you've got that feature, but I've never... If I want to record someone, I can do it on my phone, you know, and you've got more sharing options on your phone. You can send it email or messenger or something. So yes, it is backwards compatible. You can go back to old firmwares. But that's a good point. I'm getting mixed up with the RT3S. The RT84, I do not know if that... Yeah, Beach Bum, thanks for joining us tonight. 7-3. We're just waffling now. You're not going to miss anything. I'm just thinking of monitoring it. Yeah, right. Yeah, I don't think it's got record on it. This is an entry-level radio. Now I've got the 120,000 contacts, so it's not gonna. This one ain't gonna have the record. But the only firmware. No GPS. No. Yeah. 7-3. John Fisher. Good night. There's only one firmware that's available for this radio with 120,000 contacts because it came out yesterday. There's only one firmware, and I did it today and yesterday, and I struggled to get it in. But there was not a GPS version, and there was not a record version. So if you want to record things, look elsewhere. Although that's not something I've used. Anyway, I'm going to wind this stream up. I'm going to cut it off. If anyone's got any questions, I'll just be monitoring for a few minutes. If anyone's got any questions or would like to, if they've joined us late and would like to know anything. So I'm quite chuffed with this, because the hardware on it is really nice. It's really thin. Yeah, thanks, More. Is that John Moore that I know from the Facebook groups? Was it? Not quite sure. But thanks for your comments. You know, these only are my opinions. You know, I've tested out lots of different radios, and Hugh Maxey's just going to buy an alternative. Go and buy an alternate CPS. Okay, well it is the same as the... Okay, it's not John. That's okay. I was just curious. You had the same surname. Yeah, so it's... it looks the same as the 1701, and I mean let's look at the eBay advert for the RT84 and see if it mentions voice recording. Although I don't think it's worth having because you haven't got the contacts on it now that I'm raving about, but if that's super important, let's have a look. Here's the spec. Don't like pointing cameras at screens, but features. No mention of recording. I mean, this is the budget one, you know, I'll be very surprised. That's an optional, isn't it? Optional extra. That's an extra that you pay a bit more for. So I'd say no recording on this one. I mean, you've got to remember, when you record stuff, right, it goes onto memory. And this was the budget version. The budget version that only had 10,000 contacts. And if it's only got 10,000 contacts, they're not going to have any spare memory for recording MP3s and WAVs on. So more and more, he's got a Facebook group. I'm just clicking on that in my stream. Yeah, that is. I've got the name wrong, but Peter Moore's. I got the name wrong. So yes, I'm in that group. Look, I'm on your group now, John. Sorry, Peter. Peter Moore's. Look, and I'm joined. I'm on there, but I've seen you on there hundreds of times, and I know you've seen me on there hundreds of times. I've got a couple of Facebook groups. I've got MD 2017, HD1, 380 Tips and Tricks, Amateur Radio for Beginners. Yeah, Humax has found an alternate firmware. You know, it's such a pain putting it on. You know, now I've got it on, I'm not going to go back and check out other ones, but I can't guarantee what will work on it other than what I've tried. So you know, this is a budget radio, and the only good thing about it is budget. It's good hardware, and it now shows all the contacts. Not firmware, programming software. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to wind this up now because I don't want to go on and on about the same stuff. If anyone's got any questions, has missed anything, join the stream, live stream from the beginning, then go ahead with any questions, and then I'll wrap it up. But I'm just letting you guys know before the price goes up, because this thing is it just doesn't compare to anything else. You know, it's much better value. You know, Humax was saying it's better than the GD77. It's better than the Baofeng, the RD5R. But my best two radios are the Aliens HD1 and the Anytone 868. So I'm going to go over to I'm going to go and have a listen on 2350 if anyone would like to join me on there. 2350 in the UK. That's an annoying thing. It doesn't show you call sign when you transmit. That's a bit rubbish. But I'm now on the UK talk group 2350. If anyone keys up, you'll be live on 2350. And I'm just going to wind this stream up. Okay. 73 from 2E0 UKH.